George North has been training with the Wales squad despite struggling with a dead leg. Talupi Faletau was also training after being named on the bench for the England game. The Welsh camps say North will be given as much time as possible to recover from injury.
Obviously, we've got contingency plans in place. We've got both Steph Evans and Alex Cuthbert with the squad as well. So, you know, everybody's got their heads on psychologically. Everybody's making sure they're preparing the best they can, ticking off everything they need to cover, and that's where we are.
There's been a war of words all week between both the Welsh and English camps. The latest argument is over whether the Principality's roof should be closed. England have insisted on the roof being open. But when it has been closed, Wales have often won, winning in 2013, 2007 and 2005. They also beat England in 2009 when the roof was open.
Actually played better when the roof was closed. Plus it's cold, so it's going to be colder, I guess.
Not too much. I'm disappointed with the decision because I think it takes away from the atmosphere and some of the sound is lost through the roof, but on the whole it shouldn't affect the performance.
Well, as long as it's not going to have a detrimental effect on the game, I don't see why it should be much of a problem.
The war of words will end at 10-5 tomorrow, and both teams will let the rugby do the talking. Dan Padwick, CGS News, Principality Stadium.
Holocaust survivors were amongst those gathered in City Hall today to remember those murdered under the Nazi regime. Eva Clark was born in the Mauthausen concentration camp in Austria. The only reason she survived? Because the Nazis had run out of gas for their gas chambers the day she arrived there. For her, life could have been very different.
My mother, my stepfather and I, we all came here in 1948, and we came from Czechoslovakia. And what I also stress nowadays is that although we came legally, we might have been refugees, we might have been asylum seekers, we might have been migrants.
Prayers and songs helped remember on a day that marks 72 years since the liberation of the Auschwitz death camp. First Minister Carwyn Jones spoke at the service. He said we mustn't forget.
If we forget, it'll happen again. Human beings have frailties, but there's a dark side of the human character. People have a tendency to forget. If we forget, then the chances of something like this happening again are increased, and that's not something that I want to see.
A candle lit to remember the victims of the Holocaust. Olivia Waltho, CGS News, Cardiff.
The fixtures for the 2018 and the 2019 Six Nations Championship have been released today. Wales will travel to France on a Friday in 2019, despite the Welsh Rugby Union refusing to host any more Friday night games. Our reporter Dan Padwick is in the newsroom. Dan, Wales fans might have been forgiven for thinking they'd seen the back of Friday night matches.
Well, yes, Rebecca, you're quite right. Wales fans would have been forgiven to think they'd seen the back of these Friday night matches. The Six Nations introduced these matches in 2009, and since then Wales have hosted 6 out of 7 of these. The last one obviously coming against Ireland in March. The one before that was against England in 2015. After the Ireland game, though, the WRU told the tournament they didn't want to host any more Friday night games in Cardiff. But host is the key word here. Wales do not have any home games on a Friday night in 2018 and 2019, but they will travel to Paris, obviously, in 2019 on a Friday night.
And what have the WRU had to say about the fixture list?
Generally, they're actually quite happy about it. They've said they've done their bit over the years, and another country should carry the burden of these Friday night games. And they're also happy the Six Nations has listened to them this time. They say they'd love to have every game at 3 p.m. on a Saturday, but they have to be mindful to the broadcasters and the revenue they bring into the tournament as well.
And what do fans think about this Friday night game in Paris?
Again, they don't really mind as well. They think fans will make a weekend out of it. I've been speaking to the Cardiff Rugby Football Club. They cover the Cardiff Blues and the Cardiff Blacks in the city, and they said that Friday night games are generally better for the away fans rather than the home fans. Obviously, if you've ever seen Cardiff Central on a Friday night, it sees a queues after a rugby game, especially when England play as well, because the England fans are going back to England and Wales fans are going back to England. And they generally think this won't be a problem in Paris because the Stade de France is obviously on the edge of the city and obviously the Millennium in the city centre of Cardiff.
And what are Wales's fixtures for the next 2 years?
Wales won't actually do a lot of travelling in 2018. They're home to Scotland, France and Italy, and they're away to England and Ireland. 2019 sees them play France in Paris on that Friday night, obviously. They'll also travel to Italy and Scotland, but England and Ireland will be coming to Cardiff that year. Back to you in the studio.
Dan, thank you.